Welcome to Assignment 1 in Microsoft Excel. In this assignment, we're going to learn some of the basic things you need to know to navigate in an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to learn things like adding and deleting rows, entering text, font size and style, resizing columns, adding and deleting columns, row height, merge and center, text and background fill, borders, and simple autofill. To begin, understand that the assignment I am doing is not the same as the one you will be doing. Yours will not look like this. I'm going to show you how to do each feature, but not take you through the assignment itself step by step. So watch this video to learn how to do each feature and then apply that learning to the actual assignment. Follow the assignment sheet that has been given to you and start with the starter assignment that is provided. In the tutorial, you have already learned what the cells and the rows are. It will become very important in this assignment that you know the difference between a cell and a row. If I tell you to highlight A1 through through C13, that would be A1 through C13. But if I tell you to highlight rows 1 through 13, and it will have a different effect on what you do. So to start, we're going to insert a row. I want to insert a row that is above this line. Know that when you insert a row, it will always go above whatever you've highlighted. So with it highlighted on row 2, I'm going to right click and choose Insert, and it put one up underneath it. There I can put in my titles. In your assignment, it will ask you to delete rows. In order to do that, you're going to highlight the rows required, right click, and press Delete. Know that there is a difference between deleting rows and deleting cells. If I were to just highlight this cell and delete it, I would get this prompt that says, what would you like me to do with the rest of the cells? If I say shift cells up, it would shift everything. Most of the time you don't want to do that. So make sure that you highlight the correct rows when you delete. This column is not wide enough to accommodate all the names. So in order to widen it, I'm going to put my cursor in between the A and the B, so it's a two-sided arrow, and I'm going to drag it over. I could also double click and it will automatically resize it to the longest name, which is Gregory Braithwaite. I'm going to do the same on this column and this column. You can also change the size of the column by selecting exactly the size you want it to be. I'm going to highlight column A, right click, and do column width. And here it puts it into pixels. So I can say, oh, I want it to be 20. And it will make it exactly that size. Center alignment is when you highlight this way and you press the center button, just like you did in Microsoft Word. It's the same thing. Know that there are two kinds of ways to center, though, in this program. So there's center, which is a center alignment, and there's also merge and center. So we're going to learn that one next. I want prize winners to be centered across the middle. If I press center, it will only center it within A1. So in order to center it across, I'm going to highlight A1 through C1 and press Merge and Center. And what it's done is it's made A1, B1, and C1 into one big cell and centered it across that way. We can also change the font size. We can change the font. We can change font colors and even font backgrounds. On this part, I'm going to highlight it and make it italicized and centered. And I'll probably change the background color for fun. You can also bold things. So bold, italicize, and underline still work great in this program. The next thing I want to show you can be a little tricky, and that's changing your font size. Now, on my assignment, in my example, it won't matter, but on yours it will. If you do this incorrect, your document will not fit on one page. You have much more names in your list than I do. So what I'm going to do is show you two ways to change the font size. One is to highlight the cells, change it to size 8. Notice that the font got smaller, but the actual cells are the same size. So I don't want that. I'm going to highlight the rows and then change the size to size 8. And you can see that the row height changed with it. So remember that on your lesson when it asks you to change the font to size 8, to make sure you highlight the rows and not just the cells. Now I'm probably going to have to resize this again. On your assignment, you'll definitely need to resize it again because now my font is smaller and I want it to accommodate that. Next, I'm going to learn how to do borders. So I'm going to highlight my borders like this. You got to highlight what you want the borders to go around, because if you were to print this right now, you would not see the lines. They won't show up unless you put them there. So I'm going to highlight all my names, and up here there's a little button that looks like a window. Don't push it. Push the arrow next to it, and it shows you lots of different ways, lots of different things you can do. We're going to do all borders. Okay, I did a quick sort. I didn't put it on the video because we're not learning that today, but just to show you the next thing, which is autofill, just a quick, easy autofill. I sorted it by prize, and I'm just going to pretend that they decided not to give out iPods because they're cheapskates, so I'm going to delete those out of there. You do something like that in your assignment. And now I want the word gift card to come down into these two, and I'm lazy. I don't want to retype it. It could be that there's a whole page of this, and so you don't want to have to retype it every time. So I'm going to put my cursor on the corner here. It turns into a plus, a black plus sign. And when I click on it, this little, by the way, this little black thing right here, this is called a fill handle, okay? So when I click on that and I drag down and I let go, it will copy whatever was in this space, this cell. So autofill can do this. If I give it a pattern, I can hold it and drag it down and it will count it for me. I can even say, okay, well, count by threes. As long as you give it a pattern, it will know what to do. So you can do it with numbers. If you give it a name, it's the first name that popped in my head, it will obviously just copy that name. But if I give it two names, it will follow that pattern every other. So that's what autofill can do. Remember that you have to put your cursor on the fill handle and drag down. It can only go down, it can go sideways, and it can go up. Make sure you also add a header. Go to Insert and Header and Footer, and it will actually change your view. Now your view is set to a, if you go to View here, it's set to the page layout rather than the normal view. And it makes it so that you can see your margins. Now each teacher may have a different way they want you to do this. I have you write your name and your period and assignment. Now if you don't like this view, personally I don't like it. I don't like to see my margin. You can go back to View and turn on Normal. And that doesn't mean that your header's gone. If you go to File, Print, you can still see it in your print preview. It's there for you, but you just don't see it in this particular view. So you can go back and forth. So that's how you do that. So thank you so much for watching Lesson 1 by Megan Reese, and we hope to see you again for Lesson 2.